Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to SimPlay Motorsport here for the Pro Series this evening. It is going to be an absolutely belting night of racing action for you all out there tonight. At the moment, I believe it was 30 pros we have out in the server, 31 pros now in the server. We're expecting a pretty big grid once again tonight, and this should provide us with a lot of drama and entertainment. It looks like Overtaker's about to pop back into the pit lanes. Let's try and once again find another driver on the track. Green surface. The weather forecast was a little worse than last night, as we were saying. The locked-in weather was 0.5 more cloud tonight than it was last night, but so far no rain has been around. It is not a green surface because the rain has washed it away. It is green because of the time of day and the fact that this is Friday evening. So it is an interesting one out there to see what will happen. Now, you will have to bear with me tonight. At the moment, I'll have a lot of points to input and things to sort out. There might not be any polls going up because I am on my own for this one this evening. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, great to be here. Great to be back with you all in the chat. Hope you're all doing very well. We've got 10 minutes left of practice. So while there is 10 minutes left of practice, let's run through the championship points. It is in the platinum category then, that of Milliston, who leads the way on 165 from Will Friedman on 137. Marinich is on 135 in P3. Vitas is P4. Great opening start to the season for Vitas. Mezin is in P5 with 117. Radic P6 on 107. Cairns is 7th with 105 points. Overtaker is P8 as we see Marinich just have a bit of a spin there. It's gone to on board Gillies, who's just had to order himself a new wheel as his broke on Tuesday night, so he's on the new equipment and he's getting used to that one. Leger is P9 from Schmidt. Ben Ruck P11 from Ian McGowan. Then it is Comor, Mike Mathew, Sokolov, Skunky, Pletisek, McKenzie, DeMunster, Rizalski and Cosme bringing up the rear. And in that Gold Championship, it is that of Clace, who had such a good race last time out. It was incredible to see his pace in that McLaren. He's on 139 points. Second place in gold is Harris on 88. So the difference is incredible in the Gold Championship already. Butcher is P3 from Gleeson. Richie Michel from DeCourt. Cordno Messino. Van der Ven from Gillies rounding out the top 10. Then it is Langley, Manavola, Wainwright, Rob Smith, Stothard, Meiger, Agoni, Wright, Varga, Castro, Ramsel, Jimenez, Hibbs and Westerich bringing up the rear. And in the Teams Championship, it is Balkan Simup who lead the way on 211 points. Second place is the Balkan Esports team on 186. BAL Racing are third place on 180 from Balkan OZ Racing on 166. Racing Softs are P5 on 153 with the Greasy Bandits Racing on 139 P6. Cloud9 are P7 with the Casuals P8. Momentum Motorsport 9th. Flying Dutchman rounding out the top 10. MMS are P11 from SimPlay Racing in 12th with the Sleepy Lizard Repsol Racing. P13, Team KCS Squadra Corsa, RP14 from Momentum PR Team, Team Richie's Corsa, Quantum Motorsport, Only Momentum and Bearded Racing bringing up the bottom part of the table there. But this is week number 2 and this is at Brands Hatch, as we know, the night race that we saw in the Who Darren Cup, and then of that in the Pro-Ams last night, which was a fantastic Pro-Am night race. It was chaotic, dramatic, a lot of rain around that provided a lot of intense action across the board. But at the moment, as you can see out on circuit so far, Patrick Leger has gone provisional fastest at the moment with Sokolov P2. Ben Ruck is in third from Vitas with Schmidt, Radic top 6. Friedman's in 7th. Cordno is 8th. He's your leading gold pace driver. Obviously none of this matters, it's free practice, but it's good to see what these drivers are going to do. And look at that, 1 second cover in the top 21. That is some awesome pace. McKenzie in the Nissan is coming round to complete his first flying lap. Got Stothard, Van der Ven, Rob Smith in here, as well as Benny Varga, Messino, Manavola in there, Wainwright as well. It's a stacked grid. Overtaker down the order a little bit, and we know Overtaker tends to like to run in only the optimum conditions, but I don't think we're going to see optimum tonight. I think this is going to be a tricky night for the track to improve and get faster. 31 drivers have been going around this circuit for 55 minutes now, and we're not seeing an improvement in that track condition. So I think this is what we're going to be basically getting, bar a bit of rain. unless it does rubber up, but I find it very unlikely at the moment. We saw on the Who Darren Cup on Tuesday, that stayed green for the entirety of the event, and I think this one's going to be another night where it could be difficult to get temperature in. Chris, good evening to you. Gary Clarbo, Sam Williams, Rob Smith, Bran Turismo, DeClace, Gareth Anderson and Rob Smith as well. Rob Smith saying, gutted to miss last night. Internet is still patchy, so on to them again tomorrow. Yeah, what a shame for you, Rob, because I feel like you could have had a decent night last night in that Nissan. It would have been a decent car around here as we're watching Overtake currently come towards the timing screen. And does he move up the order? He does. He's just at the bottom of your screen. You can see the little marker on who we're watching. He moves up to 22nd place, meaning 22 or a second off of the time. Windy evening here in Kent, 15 kilometres an hour of wind, with the track temperature and the ambient temperature sitting at 8 degrees. So we'll see what will happen as this evening rolls on. Overtake looks like he's about to pull into the pits. Let's go to Sokolov then, so that we can just see another car out on circuit, as Comore has actually gone the fastest time on the grid at the moment, and now Schmidt takes that one right back off of him. So we've got a bit of a race on our hands here. I think the Honda's looking racy once again in what was a great opening race of the season last time out at the Hungaroring. We saw Schmidt take the race 1 win, and we saw I believe it was it Marinich, I think, no, it was Milliston who took the second race win of the season. I think we could be on for different winners most weeks here. We've already seen it in Pro-Am, where 4 different drivers have taken 4 race wins. I think we're going to be on for the same here, although them Honda's pace at the moment looks mighty out there. How are we all doing, though, in the chat tonight? Any sniff of rain tonight? Who Darren Cup looked a dead cert for rain, but survived all night. Again, if we go back to the Who Darren Cup, Gareth, the rain is actually 0.1 more. So the weather we'd set was 0.4 cloud cover. Now the rain is also determined on cloud cover. If the rain was set to 0.1, the track would just be flooded. The rain is determined on cloud cover and what randomness you set it to. So because it is on randomness 4, it is actually 0.55 tonight cloud cover. For Who Darren Cup it was 0.4. For last night it was only 0.5. So it's going to be an interesting one. See when this rain, if it will come. I can tell you now as well, from the guys who's been practicing all evening long before the server got reset, it was damp and wet. Never greasy, never dry, just damp and wet. Here, the track has gone fast, so we are seeing an improvement now, but here it is definitely going to be an interesting one to see what will happen. So the track's now fast. We've got a 2-hour break, or is it a 4-hour break, I believe, because there's no qualifying one tonight. It's a 4-hour break in between. Will there be any rain in between that to either make the track greasy, damp, wash it back to green? Will it be wet? We just don't know at the moment. This is going to be an interesting one to see. One thing we did know, with 30 cars on track last night, the water, when the rain had persisted for a little bit, for about 20 minutes or so, it didn't dry that fast. Because of the cool temperatures, the track will not dry that quick. It was a great watch indeed, Gareth. It was absolutely fantastic, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to next week, because next week is the first of the 2 90-minute races at Kyalami. You'll be pleased to know at the moment the weather looks hot, so tyres are going to be an interesting one throughout that race, but more in particular the 90-minute conditions are going to be one to keep our eyes on throughout that entire race as well. Mezin currently down in 10th. What can he do this evening? That's going to be the big question, I think, on everybody's minds at the moment, is what can Mezin do in this race, because this will be crucial for him to bag some good points and to help him out in this championship moving up, because I haven't seen the championship leader. I believe Milliston is missing from tonight's race, so obviously drop scores will come into play. They won't reflect on the tables until next week. We do that at week 3 so that drivers have a chance of 2 weeks worth of points on the board. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting night of racing for sure. Practice session into the final moments now, and we'll get race 1 underway, and we'll go through the grid order for you as well. But yeah, what a night Pro-Am was last night. Great job in the Who Darren Cup as well on Tuesday. That was an enjoyable race to watch. And at Kyalami next week, Who Darren Cup will stay the same format. Pro and Pro-Am, 90-minute races for them boys to try and boys and girls to try and tackle the conditions of Kyalami. And just doing that extra half an hour could just put that bit of mental fatigue into play And also with very hot conditions, tyres may be worth keeping our eyes on. As Gareth Anderson says, might jump in the GT3 reserve next week. We'll see how my plans are at home to race 2 nights in a row. Well, that'd be great to see you on the reserve grid for Pro-Am. That'd be absolutely fantastic. Richie Michel's in the pits. Mike's in the pits. I think everybody's pretty much in the pits. Sokolov isn't, and he's pretty much the last man on the circuit, although the 57 is still out there. And the 57 is out of Manavola. So we'll see Sokolov take his time here. As we say good evening to Langley. Under the weather tonight is Langley. He's not going to be on the circuit tonight, sadly. And Sokolov turns into the pit lane then. Right, your grid order for this evening then. We have the Nissan of Mackenzie on pole. Empty grid spot next to him, so Sokolov is P2. And then there's two empty grid spots. Mike Matthews will be P3 with a clear run in front of him when the drivers come to line up. Comore is alongside Mike with McGowan alongside Ben Rook. Schmidt will be alongside that of Leger. Van der Ven in the Audi alongside Radic. Mezin will be alongside that of Vitas. Marinic alongside Will Friedman. In the Gold Championship, you see a bit of a gap there. There's obviously 2 other drivers missing as well. Hibbs will be leading the gold pack away from Jimenez, with Benny Varga alongside Matt Wright. Ugoni will be alongside Maiger from Stothard and Rob Smith. Wainwright and Manavola from Gillies, who has got an empty grid spot next to him. So has Mezzino, which will help out Cardano no end. And then DeCourt alongside Cardano with Richie Michel, Harris, and for some reason Overtaker at the back of the pack. So that'll be because drivers are missing, and that'll be why the empty grid slots are there, and that has glitched it out so that Overtaker starts in last place. So yes, interesting one. Track has gone back to green, so that would suggest to me that we have had a bit of rain in this break between the end of free practice and the 4-hour wait until race 1. So I would have it to guess that we've had a bit of rain around. So this is going to be interesting. Langley saying he's looking forward to Kyle Army. Phil Atherton says, how does next week first race and second race work out with a 90-minute warm-up in place? There is no 90-minute warm-up. There is no 2 races. It is one 90-minute race. As Mackenzie here showing that he's got no lights on. Mezin will start from the pit lane. Sokolov hasn't got going well. So I'm not sure if Mackenzie's got his lights turned off. I know that drivers can have them automatically set to turn on or off. So we'll see if he's got them turned on or not. But there's definitely no headlights on that Nissan at the moment. We hope to be joined by Jamal Clouden a little later on in the broadcast. And we'll see what happens throughout this evening. But yeah, so far so good for Mackenzie, who has now got the lights on, so he must have had the warning message on his race engineer. Langley, are you on your laptop at the moment? Let me know if you're on your laptop to do the YouTube chats. If you are, I'm going to make you a mod of this channel so that you can do the polls for me, because I'm on my own at the moment. As we come down Hawthorns Hill and towards the Hawthorns Bend, and we'll see what these drivers can do out there. Crucial to get these tyres up to temperature tonight. The temperatures are going to be very, very cold in this race. It really is going to be an interesting one to keep our eyes on. Who has got what in what window for this evening, because it does look like it could be an interesting race in terms of strategy. Langley is on the laptop, so let's get him added as a moderator. Langley should now be able to do us polls. So Langley, if you can get some polls out for the evening, that'll be absolutely fantastic. Whilst I am doing this, Van der Ven is up in 9th place. So I'm not sure why Van der Ven's that high, but you see the drivers ghosting through each other. That is possibly just them drivers coming through, just try and get some extra heat into their tyres. As we can see now, Sokolov will line up alongside Mackenzie on the front row. So Mike will be alongside, I believe, Comore, not Ben Rook, as they file back into position. But let's see what happens here in this race, because this could be an interesting one to keep our eyes on what will happen at the opening stages of Brands Hatch. The rain so far has stayed away. It's not going to hit in race number 1. It has clearly hit, though, in that in-between session over that 4 hours, because the track went fast. It's now gone back to green. It is 6 degrees track temp and ambient temp. And for race 3 of the season, we are about to get underway here on the second week of racing at SimPlay Motorsport. We are, for the first time this evening, green and go here in the Pro Series. It's a good start from Mackenzie. Already has Sokolov just tucking in behind him. Watch for Mike Matthews looking up the inside of Comore. He does indeed. Ben Rook going side to side and wheel to wheel with Ian McGowan. Looks nice and clean through turn 1, heading up towards Druids for the first time. Comore having a look on the back of Mike, but Ben Rook already 3 wide nearly, and I think Schmidt has just tapped that of McGowan around. McGowan's managed to hold on to it. Friedman, Leger, and there's another car involved in that. It was Marinich. And then Vitas caught up in all the drama. And the melee at turn 2 has already happened. And it's a chaos for some of the front-running guys in the Pro Series. Ben into the back of Mike Matthews. And Ben's going to overtake them round the outside with 2 wheels on the grass. No, slows down to let Mike rehab that position back. That's going to put Radic on the back of Ben Rook now as they come down Hawthorne's Hill in towards Hawthorne's corner for the first time. Ben losing out to Radic, now looking up the inside. Will he get the move done in towards Westfields? No, he won't. He'll tuck back in. Very hard to overtake around here in this series. In GT3 cars in general, should I say. Look at that, Marinich. Overtake was already at the back. Leger, Vitas, Mezin, and I believe we've already lost Will Friedman from this race. So that'll be no point scored for Will Friedman there then in this first race of the evening. So what a shame for Will. Second in the championship. With the championship leader not turning up, Friedman not scoring a single point there. Down the order, we've got side-by-side action between Rob Smith and what looks to be Matt Wright. Matt Wright stays ahead and Rob Smith tucks back in. We've also got that of couple of cars going into the pit lane. Actually, there it was Benny Varga and Messino looking interested. Now Messino's looking really interested on the back of that of Rob Smith. Coming up the inside in towards Paddock Hill. Goes very, very wide and waits once again. McGowan, Matt Wright, Benny Varga, Overtaker and Leger all into the pit lane. Sokolov, fastest man on circuit. He's got Comore putting him under pressure. Can the Nissan get a race win? Van der Ven in the Audi, leading gold driver at the moment at the front of the pack. As Arctic Fox says, oh, this is spicy. Well, I've got to pass a message on from Jimenez to you. He says, good afternoon. And it has been spicy indeed at the start. The track is back to fast, so it's quickly changed to fast here. So this will just help the drivers settle in a bit more. The track gripping up every lap we go. Need editor permissions to run a poll, says Langley. So let me just change this one. And hopefully Langley will be able to get the polls running once again. Apologies, Langley. I didn't realise there was 2 different views. There we go. Save. And hopefully Langley now can create some polls. But Van der Ven leading in gold from Ugoni, from Hibbs, making his first races of the season. Maiga is P11 overall, P4 in the class. Jimenez is down in 14th on the back of Wainwright though at the moment. We've got Cardno, who's looked pacey in the practice session. He's on the back of Mezzino, and will anybody decide to pit? There is a couple of cars in. Ben Rook, Cardno does decide to box, so in he comes now. I would say afternoon to him, but he's starting to sweat already, says Arctic Fox in the chat. So in comes Rook, Hibbs, Jimenez, Cardno, DeCourt, Marinich, as well as Vitas still in the pit lane. And that could be Vitas' day done. But look out front then. Mackenzie, it says 2 tenths. That looks a bit bigger than 2 tenths because now Sokolov coming under pressure from Comore. This is on board with Comore's shot. Coming through Surtees. Mackenzie just out of shape a little bit there through Surtees. And down the Hawthorne straight they go. In towards Hawthorne's Bend. You can just see that Ferrari use its straight line speed over the Honda behind him to pull away. And the Nissan as well has also just checked out up front. Great pace from Mackenzie there then to pull away in this on that long straight, the longest straight on the circuit. As Radic looks to get the up and under on Mike Matthews through that's through Westfields, now into Dingle Dell up towards Sheen Curve, and the Porsche good here. We saw how good the Porsche was last night, really trying to mount an attack on Mike Matthews. Wainwright was on the back of Stothard, still is on the back of Stothard at the moment. They're coming in towards Sterling's now. What an opening start to this race. We've lost Will Friedman already. Messino in P13 on the back of Rob Smith. He's got Michael Harris behind in that Lexus. As the other Rob Smith in the chat saying Harris has to have livery of the night. Looks awesome in the dock. Well, Harris is into the pit lane. And now we've got Messino and Messino and Rob Smith side by side in towards Paddock Hill Bend. And Messina on the outside cannot get that move done. Anybody fighting out of the pit runners. Matt Wright's trying to hunt down Benny Varga. We've got Overtaker side by side with Decourt, and through Hawthorne's Bend, Overtaker moves up another place, picks one up. Cardno might even fancy following him through into Westfields. They go now, and Cardno up the inside of Decourt. Lovely little move from Thomas Cardno, that is. Great position for him. Patrick Leger may also fancy a piece of the action on the back of Decourt as Radic goes green, and out the pits he comes. Where is Ben Rook, who was just behind Radic before Ben pitted? It's a short pit lane here. Radic is off the limiter. Ben sails round the outside of Radic. So what a move from Ben there. Gillies, avoid a crash and get driven into. He says in the chat, where is Gillies in this race? He's into the pits down in 23rd. Mezin also in the pits with the fastest lap. And what is happening back out front? Whereas we were, there's not a lot happening. Ugoni on the back of Van der Ven for that lead in the gold category. Late to the party. Where's the rain? Says Cherry Moore. I agree. Where is the rain? It hasn't came at the moment. It is shocking that it hasn't came, considering these have got a bit heavier cloud than what you boys had last night. Comore pits from P3 then. Mike Mathews now onto the podium at the moment, provisionally so far. And Rob Smith, it's pro night. It never rains on a Thursday. No, it does not. Never do we get a drop of rain on a Thursday evening. So let's see what happens through this next couple of laps then, because we could be in for a decent race as this unfolds. 8 minutes left. Yellow flag. That is a car return to the pit lane. I believe that looks to be Patrick Leger. Indeed it is. So not sure what has happened to Leger there, but he's in the pits with damage. Marinic trying to get onto the back of Gillies. We've got Cardno sticking to the back of Overtaker. Nah, not quite. Jimenez opening pressure on that of Michael Harris at the moment, who slides through Sterling's. And Jimenez now putting the pressure on. Ben Rook has jumped Komar. Did Komar also get jumped by Radic? Yes, he did. And he's just got jumped by his teammate Smith. So was running P3. He's been jumped now. It clearly shows that the undercut was the strategy to be on. Once since Ben has been in, I think, says Chris. So let's see what happens then in this race. Van der Ven fending off Ugoni at the moment. Congrats on your race last night, Gary Clark. I think it's rained in between sessions because the track went to fast and dropped back to green. So I think it's rained in between sessions here. And we'll just have to see what happens in this race. Ugoni, though, still keeping the pressure on Sokolov into the pits. Can Ben Rook then get the jump on Sokolov, who was second place? Let's keep our eyes out on what will happen, because if Ben can get that jump, that'll put him in a great position to potentially win his first race of the season in what would be a great start after a not a bad Hungaroring. I just think that a lot of cars had a lot of pace last week, and it was just hard to get past a few drivers. I think this could be SimPlay's toughest season yet, as here comes Ben onto the start-finish straight. Round the down over the line he goes, and he will jump ahead of Sokolov, who just comes off his limiter. Ben sets the fastest lap. Sokolov comes out ahead of Radic. I think Ben could be on for the race win here. Looking great value for his money. Back to this Van der Ven Ugoni fight. Maiger's on the back of them as well. We've also got Stothard, Messino and Rob Smith. So Messino has got clear of Rob Smith. The top 10 have still got to pit at the moment. But what a chance for Mazzino here to pick up some more points as Cherry Moore. Great to see Van der Ven put that Audi up front. Cool car. And Stothard, as I look to the chat, has had a moment, and that's allowed Messino through, and Rob Smith got the pair of them. So did Messino tap Stothard around? I'm not sure. As Van der Ven carries on, Maiger into the pit lane he comes, because he's not behind anymore. I believe that is Vitas. Let's take a look and see what happened on the stream next to me. See if we could just pick up what actually happened. Not at the moment, as I'm being told to shush by Chris, and that must be because I've said that Ben could be on for the race win. Maiger and Stothard into the pits. Any battles happening out of those pit runners at the moment. Sokolov has got Radic gaining on the back of him. We've then got Benny Varga with Matt Wright hunting him down. We've got Overtaker, who's got Cardno up the inside of Jimenez. Great move from Thomas Cardno. Put the pressure on the BMW driver. Through he goes. Him and Overtaker, one by one, they're picking him off. And Cardno just trying to get closer to the back of Overtaker in this race. He'll be gutted if he doesn't win a gold race tonight, because he has got the outright pace in that gold category at the moment. Let me tell you, his practice run was done on a great amount of fuel. And Stoffard, they've got an extra place there as he is into the pit lane. Leger back out. No, he's still not out on track. So could that be a retirement for Patrick Leger? We'll have to wait and see. Looked like Stoffard did it himself, said Rob Smith in the chat. As Micah on the back of Comore. No, he's not. He's on the back of? That is Ian McGowan. So timing tower is not updated just yet, as there it goes. So Micah on the back of McGowan. And Mike Matthews into the pits. Here's Messino trying to get once again onto the back of Rob Smith. Both not pitting this time around. And where's Ben Rook to Mike Matthews at the moment then? Let's take a look and see. Will Ben get the jump over Mike? He's only just come through Westfields now. Down through Dingledell he goes. Remember, Mike was running P4 in this race. So I'd assume Ben would get the jump, considering he's jumped Sokolov and Comore. With 4 minutes left, still Leger the car in the pits. Mike not yet moving from his pit box. He hasn't even gone green. This could be bad in terms of Mike losing out to Ben Rook and to possibly Radic. Mike's still in the pit lane. Ben's gone through. Sokolov will go through. So will Radic. So will Schmidt. Mike goes green now. Has Comore got ahead of Mike? Yes, he has. What about Hibbs? Your net gold leader. Hibbs does pass Mike Matthews. So Mike with a terrible pit stop there, losing a lot of time, and the undercut the way to go in this race. And now Messino still putting the pressure on. Let's drop back down the order though. Mike Matthews on the back of... no, that's wrong because he's on the back of Hibbs. We'll wait for that to pan out. Benny Varga has got a couple of cars behind him here. Matt Wright, Michael Harris, and not far away is Overtaker and Cardno. Overtaker has dropped Cardno a little bit. And Leger still in the pits. That could be a retirement. Miger on the back of McGowan, who's also trying to get onto the back of Mike Matthews. This is on board with Ian McGowan then. Seeing Mike Matthews there, and Hibbs just climbing up the hill in a moment. There is Hibbs in the foreground. So let's see what happens as Sam Williams says yes, Tom, in the chat. Anderson says let's go Miger as well. So interesting to see what's going to happen in this race at the moment. Rob Smith into the pits. That releases Manavola in this race then. And so far Ben is your net race leader. Radic was coming under pressure from Schmidt there. Here comes Schmidt towards that outside line at Clearways and can't get the move done. Looking for the up and under though, is he, on the Porsche. The Honda tucks underneath and Radic can't cover that one off. Schmidt's going to have that inside line coming down in towards Paddock Hill Bend. 2 minutes 45 on the clock as the lead pit runners cross the line. And Schmidt on the inside at Paddock Hill. Not the greatest run through it. That's allowed Radic to come across and defend from Schmidt at Druid's Corner. And Radic somehow stays in front at the moment. This is Ian McGowan fending off Miger. Mike Matthews trying to put pressure on Hibbs and fend off Ian McGowan as well. Further down, Matt Wright getting closer to Benny Varga with Harris right behind the pair of them. And then Marinich trying to chase Jimenez with Rob Smith out the pits. Gillies is actually ahead of Rob Smith. He's on the back of Marinich. So we'll see what they can do there. And DeCourt as well, P26. Patrick Leger still in the pits. That's a definite retirement for Patrick Leger in this one. Schmidt, though, is the man to keep our eyes on at the moment. He's the one putting all the pressure on Radic in this race at the moment. As everybody in from the lead, the top 7 all into the pits. Mackenzie is done. Where's Ben Rook in terms of Mackenzie? I think Mackenzie's got this covered off, depending on how far down the pit lane he is. Can he get off the limiter before Ben Rook? Let's wait and see. Nissan good in a straight line. Has Mackenzie got enough to stay ahead of Ben Rook? No, he hasn't. Ben Rook takes the lead of this race. Will Mackenzie be ahead of Sokolov? Yes, he will. No, he won't. Sokolov manages to get it done by being brave on the brakes, going round the outside. Ben Rook leads from Sokolov. Mackenzie on the podium though in the Nissan. And back to Radic and Schmidt side by side. This could be 3 winners from 3 races so far this season. And Ben Rook on that final lap, I believe the final lap, leads the way here at Brands Hatch. Radic is defending for his life though at the moment. As Schmidt looks to the outside of that of Radic. Can't get the job done. Hibbs your gold leader from Miger from Van der Ven. But let's go back to that Schmidt fight. Radic fending off for his life here. Absolutely brilliant defensive drive from the young man, as now Schmidt looks back up the inside line at Westfield. Radic gets the traction out the corner. This is bringing Komar back into play as well, who might fancy a piece of his teammate in this race just to get some extra points in the bag. Won't help the team. And is Ben coming to that checkered flag? We'll jump on board Ben Rook, who's got 10 seconds to get to the line. He could possibly yield a couple to Sokolov, but I don't think he's going to. He's going to come towards the checkered flag. He's going to start one final lap with 1 second to go. So that really helps Schmidt out, because that gives Schmidt an extra chance to get past Radic as they come towards Paddock Hill Bend. Schmidt has a look, pulls back in behind. Can't do it there. What else is happening out there on the circuit? Let's have a look at another close battle. Harris has got past Matt Wright, so he's trying to chase down Benny Varga. Just behind them, we've got Wainwright and Overtaker and Thomas Cardno. As Overtaker looks to the outside line of Wainwright, trying to go the long way round. Could that open the door for Cardno to come up the inside? No, doesn't. Overtaker, though, looks to get the up and under on Wainwright. In towards Druids they go. Overtaker gets it stopped on the corner. Wainwright could have that inside line for Graham Hill. Gets the better exit, doesn't need the inside line, and stays ahead, does Wainwright. Rob Smith up the inside of Richie Michelle at Druids now, as it is all happening here at Brands Hatch, and Rob Smith gets through. What's happening then back at the front between Schmidt and Radic? They're still as close as they've been for the last 3 or 4 laps. As we'll keep our eye on the race leader, Ben Rook, who is coming towards the final corner. We'll go to Ben in a minute. We want to try and see as much of this fight as possible. They've got 1 corner to go. I think Radic is going to hold on to that one. But Ben Rook comes to the final corner, and he's going to take his first win of the season and the fastest lap. Ben Rook wins. From then what seems to be from Sokolov. From then McKenzie on the podium. Great podium from the Nissan. Radic from Schmidt from the Comore. Hibbs will take the gold win and stays ahead of Mike Matthews at the end. Miga P2 in gold from Ian McGowan. P3 goes the way of Van der Ven, so 2 podiums with an Audi and a Nissan. Ugoni P12, Varga from Harris for 13th and 14th. Righty 15th from Wainwright, Overtaker, Cardno, Messino, Gillies from Marinich. Jimenez holds off to court at the end. Mezin will come across for 24th from Rob Smith. Then comes Richie Michelle. Vitas a lap down, Manavola 27th. And Stoffard's going to come through for that 28th place. We lost Will Friedman, Vitas a lap down, and Leger retired early on as well. That, though, is your race 1 in the bag. And we'll be back in a few moments' time for the second race. Don't go anywhere. Well, that's a turn up for the books. It is wet to start the qualifying session, but drying as the session goes on. And this is something me and Langley spoke about last night. With the new qualifying rules, due to drivers being so close to each other between the gold and the platinum drivers, as drivers was starting their first flying lap, they was having to wait for drivers on their ending their first flying lap to lap them. So a new rule is the golds get to go out on the circuit first. What that means is the Platinums are going to get a drying circuit. The rain hit in practice and it is hit now in qualifying. So we could see, you want to be out there last in this session because the times are going to ramp up no end. It is just going to dry every minute. Remember, if you are new and didn't watch last night, the new qualifying rule is the golds will get the first 10 minutes. Now, if the gold driver starts his final lap time just before the 10-minute timer ticks over to 9:59, he can finish that lap he is on. If the a platinum driver cannot come out the pit lane until 10 minutes. So it means they cannot leave their pit lane. They can leave their pit box, they can queue up at the end of the pits, they've got to queue in an orderly fashion, but they cannot leave the pit lane until that timer has ticked over. And I'm just double checking, every platinum driver is currently sat in the pit lane. So we only had the one driver failed that. Who's in the chat? Great first race, says Langley. Stothard binned it. He says, Benny Volga, 13th boy. It's just a sprint race, I know, but good result finally. Also, get better, Lang, as I miss you. Arctic Fox says, good stuff in this race. If anybody is interested at all, Wellington, a.k.a. Jimenez, said if it rains, he is putting BTA. Hopefully his prayers have been answered in the chat there. So let's see what will happen in this race, because it's going to be an interesting one to see what the drivers will do in this qualifying session. Remember, the golds can do the first 10 minutes, and then it's down to the platinums for the second 10 minutes. The golds will have to return to the pit lane to end their qualifying, and they'll get 10 minutes extra respite, which just gives me an extra 10 minutes. Well, it's only qualifying's only actually an extra 5 minutes longer than what it would have been anyway for week 2. Just means I've got to ramble on for an extra 5 minutes on my own, doesn't it? And you get to listen to me just talking nonsense. As we come through them, Harris just about to finish his first flying lap. Car 62 is the next one. That is Wainwright at the moment. So Harris will go top of the timing screens. Obviously the first man to set early flying lap. As Langers has done as a little poll out there at the moment. There goes Harris then to the top of the timing screen. What will Wainwright do in response? 3/10 slower at the moment. Let's drop down to the 157 of Jimenez, who is one of the last cars on track. So let's go to Meiger, who's about to come to the line. Here he comes now. We'll jump to Stothard in a moment as well. You can see the track just improving with every moment that goes by here. It is still wet, though. The question is, how dry will it get? How much will it improve here? Because there's not all 30 cars on track. We've still not got Friedman back in. So how much will it improve in this session? That's going to be the question. As we just wait for Jimenez, Gilly's still not put a lap time in, so he must have been invalid. The 135, I believe that's Matt Wright that is off, so he's had a spin. Here comes Jimenez to the line and puts a lap time in for P8. So Meiger, the only person to beat Harris by half a tenth here. So this is going to be interesting. That is a solid rule. I've done that before on PC, slightly different, but helps with the track not being so as crowded. Indeed it does. You know, we do love the good crowded track. I think that we find that drivers has to try and find a space on circuit, but just with this, I mean, you know, if we had overlapping cars last week from out lap to first flying lap, you was going to have it here, because this track is 20 seconds faster than last week. Here comes Harris then with this track. Light rain at the moment. It is constantly improving, though, the more that these drivers go round, because it is only light rain, and Harris goes and finds 2 more tenths in this session. What about Wainwright? What can he do? Let's jump now to Agoni as Wainwright goes into P3. See if we can find one a bit closer. There's Hibbs. Let's check Hibbs out. What can Hibbs do? There's a couple of cars in front of him. Believe that is Messino as well. Van der Ven moves up the order. Messino comes towards the line as Maiga goes back on pole. Here comes Hibbs. He stays P7. Ugoni now goes up into P2. So there we go. Ugoni moves up the order once more as well. The 566 of Benny Varga coming towards the line. We'll check out the 57 of Manavola. What will he put in as a lap time here? As there you see Gillies in the background as well. Still not putting... Oh no, he does put a lap time in now, and he goes to the top of the timing screens by 2.5 tenths. Harris down to 4th, so he's got some work to do. 6 tenths off the pole, but again, the last person on track, it is light drizzle out there now. The last people on track are going to set the better lap time. So you want to... I kind of like Harris's strategy because he could at least be getting that final lap in after that 10-minute mark. So that's the beautiful thing about it, because Harris might still be able to get that final run in and get one extra lap while the Platinum drivers are starting their out lap. So let's see what happens here then, as Harris is about to come towards the line once more. What will he put on the board this time around? Will it be an improvement? Are we seeing the track ramping up just a little bit more? Harris to the line and finds 3 tenths of a second. Where's Wainwright? He's currently P6. What can Wainwright do in this session? The 83 is after him. That is Van der Ven. Wainwright, no improvement. What about Van der Ven now? Can he find an improvement? No, he cannot. Messino to the line. Has he managed to find any extra time in the car? No, he does. Yes, he goes up to 5th. Hibbs goes up to 7th. Let's find the 566 of Benny Varga. Not yet set a lap time. Neither has Cardno. So the wet conditions at the moment just catching a couple of drivers out. Here comes Benny Varga to the line now and goes up into P15. Where is Cardno on the circuit? Final corner. Has Cardno got enough in the tank to put a lap time on the board? And a valid one at that. Will it be the quickest? Let's wait and see. He goes P6. And we now turn our attention back to Harris, because the 157 of Jimenez is on an invalid lap at this moment in time. 2 minutes 44 left for these gold drivers out on the grid at the moment to set a flying lap time, unless they cross that line with 10 minutes to spare. Half a second Harris has got to find. Heck of a lap time from Gillies, as the track, again, as I keep reiterating, it's just improving lap after lap. Here comes Harris to the line. Any more time found? Yes, half a second, but he's 0.004 of a second off the back of that of Gillies. Van der Ven, the car in front of Van der Ven, invalidated his lap time. That was Wainwright. Van der Ven now does improve, moves up the order just a small amount. Let's go to Ugoni, who's coming towards the back end of the circuit. And what will Ugoni do here then? Comes to the line now. Does he find any time? He does, up to P4. Matt Wright is coming towards the end. That's Rob Smith just in front of him. Was Rob Smith on a valid lap? No, he wasn't. So we'll stay with Stothard, actually, because we're just on him. Stothard, that's an improvement for somebody. Stothard didn't improve. Matt Wright now. Can he find an improvement? Cardno's the next one behind him. Matt Wright comes to the line. Doesn't improve. Cardno to the line. Does improve. Goes up to P4. Now we turn our attention to Gillies once again. 0.004 of a second quicker than Harris. It is now stopped raining out there on track, and no improvement for Gillies. The 1.5... Is that the 1.5? Yeah, the 1.57 of Jimenez will be next to set a lap time. 1.5 seconds separating this gold grid at the moment. A second separating the top 12, and Jimenez moves up to 13th. A second separating the top 13 now. Harris needs to find a very small margin, but now the rain's not falling. That track is just going to move the standing water even quicker, so it's just going to make this circuit that little bit faster every single time. Harris keeps it tucked down low, and Harris comes to the line. No improvement. What about that then of Wainwright, who's dropped down to 14th place, just over a second off the pole time at the moment? Has he got enough in the tank to move up the order? Yes, he does. Moves up to P4. Top 4 separated by a tenth. Where's Ugoni? I believe he was the next car to come around. We've missed him. Let's find the 933. That is Richie Michel, who just drops to 9th, comes back up to 3rd though now. So this is what I'm saying. The track, look, just getting quicker every single lap. What about Maiga? He comes to the line, up to P7. The 57 is now coming to the line of Manavola. And then it'll be Matt Wright just behind him. So what can Manavola do? De Court is your pole sitter. Manavola moves up to 4th. What about Matt Wright? Doesn't improve that time around. The 117 of Rob Smith. Does he find any more time in the car? Not really there. Pulling into the pit lane he is, as is Gillies, because the Platinum drivers are all on their way out. So if anybody crossed that line with 10 minutes to go, chat, please keep me informed if anybody did cross that line with 10 minutes to go. Harris would have done, because I missed a few. And if they didn't, they will face penalty. But let's see then. What is this nonsense? The rain has stopped. This is fixed, says Neil Broom in the chat. It's the pro, Neil. The pros always get the best weather, no matter how we set it. Here comes Harris then, on his final flying lap to the line. Has he got 6/10 for the gold pole? No, he does not. Who's the next car? It will be Wainwright. And then it will be Van der Ven. So we keep our eyes on Wainwright at the moment. Needs 7/10. Does he find it? No, he doesn't. What about then Van der Ven? He's gone to the pit lane, so he's done. Messino now in the car. Can he find any more time? Before the 933 of Richie Michelle. He moves up into 3rd, so a lap time improvement there. Maiger to the line. Has he found enough in the car? No, only 2nd place. Benny Varga down in 14th. What kind of lap time has he managed to pluck out here? Stays 14th. Manavola in the wall. And now we turn our attention to the first of the Platinum drivers out on circuit. It is Patrick Leger in this qualifying session. So 8.5 minutes left for the Platinum drivers to get around. What will happen in this one? Manavola was last car on a lap. I assume that's Mike who's typed that in there. Either way, Leger, first car out at the moment. Langer's doing a great job on the poles. Look, Hibbs, race 1 gold winner. 50% of the vote he took, and it wasn't. The point goes the way of that of Gillies in the Honda. So the Honda takes a pole position. And that will be the Honda's 31st pole position. No, it won't actually, because the gold category doesn't count for pole positions on the car statistics. But Gillies then, who is down the order in that Drivers' Championship, is on 61 points now, tied for 14th place. But that point puts him in a great position for the hour-long race here then. Dan Platt drivers with their not so wet track, says Gillies in the chat. Arctic Fox says that this is intense, and indeed it is. The track is still damp, but let's go on board with Patrick Leger. Look at that racing line. Me and Langley was looking at this last night. It doesn't look wet. That racing line could possibly be damp here. The problem is their wet tyres are going to start to overheat. So yes, the times may come in, but the wet tyres are going to start to overheat. Just under 7 minutes left. Here comes Patrick Leger towards the line. Comes across it now, and it's only 13th fastest. They're going to have to get the tyres up to the right pressures in this window. Let's go down and find another car. Here's Mike Matthews coming through the final couple of corners. Where's this going to put Mike then in the qualifying session? As Schmidt moves up to 2nd place already, and Mike Matthews up into P8. So a great run there for Mike. The 116 will be the next one to the line. Who is the 116? The 110, sorry. Will be the next one to the line. That is Marinich. What will he do before we go to the 26 of Mackenzie? And Marinich moves up to P10. So already a great mixture of cars on the track. Mackenzie's just invalidated his lap there. So let's go back to Patrick Leger. He'll be the next car to set a valid lap. So let's see what happens here in this race. As Patrick Leger now comes to the final corner, we'll read the championship points out after race 1 on the formation lap. Here comes Patrick Leger. This could be a real bunched up grid here. Still a wet surface, but the track's still dry. And Leger up into 3rd. Let's drop to the 111. That is the Honda of Comor. Where's he about to jump up to? Schmidt will then be next to cross the line. Comor up to 7th. Schmidt, I reckon, is going to take pole here. Yes, he does. The 11th of Mike Matthews coming to the line. Ben Rook's on an invalid lap in front. Mike Matthews now crosses the line. No improvement. The 1-1-0 of Marinic. Currently 7/10 of a second off the pole. Can Marinic move up the order a little bit here? Let's wait and see. To the line he comes. And no, he cannot. Stays P13. The 98 of Radic. Where will Radic go? The 101 then of Sokolov. About to cross the line. Radic up to P4. Sokolov up now into P4. And we turn our attention back to the Nissan of that of Mackenzie. Mezin yet to get a valid lap time on the board. Here comes Mackenzie. Where will Mackenzie be after this qualifying lap at the moment? Great session so far. Will it go damp quick enough for someone to dive in for dries? I even think on a damp surface it might be too risky to do dries, but we'll have to wait and see. These are the pro drivers as Mackenzie moves up into P10. So good lap for him. Still a wet surface with 4 minutes left of qualifying. There's Patrick Leger getting it turned through clearways. 1.5 tenths off of Gillies on pole at the moment. Doesn't find that improved time. Someone's just behind him who's just set a lap time. That was the number 6. As Mezin now goes pole position by a tenth of a second. Can Schmidt do anything about it? Yes, he can. Finds 3 more tenths over Mezin. The 64 of McGowan towards the line. Mike Matthews is 12th. Comore's gone up to 11th. Ian McGowan moves up to P6. Heck of a lap time. We're starting to see the track just get a little bit quicker and these drivers just get a bit more confident in the car. As Marinic moves up into P3. The 101 now. Is it the 101? Yeah, it is. It's Sokolov to the line and he goes 4th. So top 4 all pro platinum drivers now. Leger next on a valid lap time once again. Track has gone to damp. Patrick Leger coming towards the line. Can he put it on pole position in this qualifying session here then? Let's wait and find out. If he could, that would be mega. Patrick Leger coming towards the line. What is his time going to be as he crosses it? Only up to 3rd. What about Mezin? Needs 3/10 of a second. Does he find it? No, he finds just a little bit. Schmidt, your pole sitter, what can he do in this race? Comes to the line, doesn't find any more time. Overtakers then next. He's currently down in 20th, moves up to P5. Where's Ben Rook? He's just moved himself up the order to P8. Who's behind Ben Rook? The 110. So where is that? That is Marinic next to the line. And Marinic stays P4, the 101 of Sokolov now. Can he move up the order just a little bit more? Let's wait and see. Moves up to P4. Not sure who the car behind is. We'll keep our eyes out. Anybody moving up the timing screen. Didn't see anybody. Back to the 26 we go. That is the Nissan of Mackenzie. What an interesting session at the moment. Absolutely fantastic so far. And here comes Mackenzie then in that Nissan. Gillies is holding well, says Cherry Moore. Indeed he is. He's holding very well as Mackenzie stays 17th. Not sure who's just crossed the line as Mackenzie has a big slide. Here comes Vitas. I think it was Comore up to 2nd now. So Comore's done really well. Gillies going to be in for a top 10 here in gold. At the moment, still a minute to go. So drivers have still got the last couple of laps. Mackenzie will be done. And Vitas does move up the order. Is that Mezin? It is. Stays P3. Now it's Schmidt to the line. Can Schmidt find any more time? Yes, he can. Finds another 3/10 and gets another lap on the board. Overtaker will be next. What does he do? Finds nothing. Ben Rook doesn't move up the order. The 110's coming through. Marinic needs to find 7/10. You can just see how much the track is starting to improve, with drivers finding more and more pace. Here comes Marinic to the line. Nothing for him. The 101 of Sokolov. 7/10 off the pole. Gillies, track is damp. Should feel like a stone now. And Sokolov goes up into P2. Radic moves up into P2. So time is improving. Comor coming to the line. Just a little wide. That's going to have cost him a bit. This will be the first man to finish. Mike's invalidated his lap, so he is done. Next car will be Patrick Leger to finish qualifying after Comor. And how much time has been found? He holds it as low as he can to the pit wall. Here comes Comor to the line. Does not improve. Patrick Leger now. Has he found anything in the tank to move up towards the front of the grid? To the line he comes. Patrick Leger doesn't take pole. It is only third place unless Vitas can spoil that party. No, he cannot. Number 5 of Schmidt, provisional pole, looking like he's going to take it. Will he improve any more? No, he does a little bit. Mez in 6th. Here comes Overtaker. Needs 0.8 of a second. We've seen him do it in the past, but not tonight. The 64 of McGowan now. He's pulled off the road. He's done. Ben Rook is done. Who are we looking for? The 110 of Marinich. He's done. So now we're turning to the 101 of Sokolov. And then the 98 of Radic. Radic could spoil Schmidt's party here. And he won't spoil the party because he invalidated his lap somewhere. So that is qualifying done. Schmidt takes pole and that will give Honda. So it's a Honda pole in platinum. It's a Honda pole in gold. And that gives Sokolov only 0.08 of a second off the back, but that gives Schmidt his second. Is that his second or his first? I think Mezin took both poles last week. Yes, he did. So that gives Schmidt his first pole of the season. And what can we get here? And it is a damp track, but the rain is getting heavier over the next 10 minutes. It's then going to turn to a shower at that 30-minute mark. So we are in for a tasty race here. The track could go from damp to wet, back to damp again, depending on the amount of rain. 30 cars on the circuit to take us through this next race. This could be an absolutely entertaining fight for the evening. I'm sure Langley's going to get to the pole up for who you think will win this one. Honda's 31st pole of its lifetime at SimPlay Motorsport whenever we've had GT3 racing. Honda has taken 31 pole positions and it's 11 now behind the Ferrari, so interesting to see there. Yeah, what a day here in the Pro Series for all these drivers. So let's go through the championships at the moment. Ben Rook now leads the championship by a point from Radic. Milliston is P3 from Schmidt. Marinich P5 from Vitas. McGowan, Overtaker, Friedman and Mezin rounding out the top 10. Sokolov, Comor, Mike Matthews, Cairns, McKenzie, Leger, Skunky, Platsek, De Monster, Rozowski, Cosme is your Platinum Championship. In gold, it is Clace, then Harris by 9 points. Then it's Van der Ven, Maiger, Butcher, Cardano, Gleason, Ugoni, Messino, DeCourt, Richie Michelle, Wainwright, Matt Wright, Hibbs, Gillies, Varga, Manavola, Rob Smith, Stothard, Langley, Jimenez, Castro, Ramsell and Westerich. And then in the Constructors' Championship, it is Balkan Simmel leading the way from BAL Racing. Racing Softs from Balkan Esports. Greasy Bandits Racing from Balkan OZ Racing. The Casuals from SimPlay Racing in P8. Cloud9 Racing a 9th from Sleepy Lizard. Repsol Racing rounding out the top 10. Flying Dutchman Team KSE Squadra Corsa a 12th. Momentum PR Team P13. Momentum Motorsport P14. Quantum Motorsport 15th from MMS. Only Momentum Team Richie's Corsa and Bearded Racing. And once again, we thank our partners in the description below for supporting the Pro Series this season. Design Manchester, producers of vinyl graphics, laser engraved gifts, mugs, printed clothing and much more, including SimPlay merchandise. Head over to their Facebook page and check out as well our brand new sponsor for the Pro Series this year, Big Apple Logistics, who specialise in moving plant and heavy machinery worldwide. So check them both out on Facebook, Big Apple Logistics and Design Manchester. As Arctic Fox says, now this is what I came for. Rob Smith got a start on wets with the forecast. You have indeed. It is going to get worse. And this is going to be a spicy margarita, I feel, in this race. This could be an absolute gem of a race here this evening. Anything could happen. And Ben Rook, by the way, who's just taken the championship lead. Where did Ben qualify? Well, he's starting from the pit lane. That's why we can't see him. He is starting from the pit lane. So Ben Rook has not taken to the grid in this race. So championship leader starting from the pits. The rain will no longer get heavier. It will just be light rain from now for around about 10 to 30 minutes before it'll go to light rain. Will it dry out? Will it go dry after that? Will it stop raining after that? We will wait and see. But we've got an hour's race coming up of pure action and drama here at Brands Hatch for you all to enjoy in what could be a fantastic night's worth of racing. And this should be a brilliant scene and a brilliant race to kickstart race number 2. Remember, Kyle Army next week. You're not going to want to miss that one. That's going to be an absolute belter. The first 90-minute race of the season. So you will not want to miss that one at all. Oh, Chris says he got kicked from the server. Because Chris is just asked why Ben starting from the pits. And he says he got kicked from the server. So Ben will be starting behind the pack. But it is Schmidt on pole from Radic from Sokolov here in race number 2 of the evening. Round 4 of the season. It's a good start from Schmidt. Sokolov coming under pressure from Radic already. Leger and Komar going side by side nearly. Komar's actually side by side with Mezin. And Leger once again tapped around. Huge turn 1 incident on the exit. Not too bad, just a couple of cars. And Radic couldn't get past Sokolov. Leger though, as there's more contact. That's Richie Michel sideways. And the Nissan, and I believe that is Matt Wright getting through. It might be Mike Matthews. Let's try and find out. It was Mike Matthews getting caught out with that one. But drama's already, and it's not Radic who leads the way. It is that of your pole sitter, Schmidt, who has won a race already this season in this Pro Championship. He won the sprint last time out. Coming through now is McGowan. He's got Maiger and Vitas just behind with Harris on the back of them as well on a damp circuit. Tyres going to be an interesting choice to see what people have gone for. And will this go to Greasy? If it goes to Greasy, will we see the slicks? That's going to be the biggest question of the night. Here is Maiger putting the pressure on Vitas at the moment. Arctic Fox saying chaos has unfolded, rain dark at Brands. I would do the same thing if I was starting mid-pack. An instant classic coming up, says Clarbel. Indeed, it will be an instant classic. It's already been a great start to this race. Leger again in the dramas. Who's that down the back of the field? That is Wainwright with a lot of damage to his car. And Rob Smith. That could be an early pit stop. Ben Rook may be fortunate. In fact, what's happened to the gold pole leader? Because Gillies is down in 27th. So that could be a bonus for Ben. And the back two are going to have to pit already. But over the line, it is Schmidt from Sokolov, from Radic, Komar, Mezin, McGowan from Vitas, Maiger from Harris. Maiger, your gold leader at the moment, coming under pressure from Harris, in towards Druids. There you go. Maiger fending off the inside line. Leger on the back of Marinich. And it's Mike Matthews who's coming under pressure from that of what looks to be DeCourt. I believe Mackenzie's got past Mike Matthews. Yes, he has. So Mike fending off DeCourt here. And I just wonder if Mike is on that slick tyre. It looked like Mike was on the slick tyre there. Just looking from that BMW. Let's go on board with DeCourt a second. Can we see... Oh, DeCourt's just been tapped by Ugoni. So DeCourt... No, it wasn't DeCourt, sorry. It was to be Ugoni who got tapped. Let's just go on board. Not close enough to see whether or not that is slick tyres on Mike's car. But either way... If that is an interesting choice for Mike Matthews in this race. Komar, though, trying to put Radic under pressure. He's got Mezin with him. Any other close fights happening down the field? Yes, Varga on the back of Hibbs for the gold. Not even the gold podium at the minute. This is for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is for 5th place in gold. Benny Varga, of course, defending Pro-Am champion. Trying to work his way back up the field. Been a long time since he's been in the pro field for Benny Varga. So this will be an interesting one indeed. But it looked like Mike was on the slick tyre. Now I don't know if that's fully what we can see or not. But let's see what happens in this race. Benny Varga there, rear stepping out just a little bit more. De Court now has lost out a bit more to Mike Matthews. The track still damp, the rain decreasing over the next 10 minutes. This is all going to play into that wet tyre overheating and getting the pressures a little bit too high in this race. As Maiger trying to attack the back of Vitas with Harris second in goal just behind him. Trying to attack the back of Maiger, and Maiger went a little wide there onto the grass. And that allows Harris to just stay ahead for the time being. Keeps Maiger just ahead for the time being. Only by a small margin as well. And what a race this is turning out to be here at Brands Hatch. It's been an absolute classic already here at the British roller coaster. And this is your fight for the lead in the Gold Championship then. Maiger versus Harris in this race. As Harris now going to look to that inside line. Is he close enough? No, he's not. Patrick Leger also had a look on Marinich here. Not close enough as well. Mezin. Oh, he's Chalmers! What has happened? That is Schmidt and Comore, the teammates of the racings. They're all sliding through Paddock Hill Bend and everybody's ending up off. And what is happening here at Brands Hatch? They're all having to avoid the stationary Comar, who is doing exactly what he needs to do. There's now a Porsche backwards. Benny Varga's also off. And Sokolov now leads this race. What has happened here? Wainwright is in the pits, but dramas at Brands Hatch. Absolute chaos. We didn't see what had happened, but my oh my, the leader has spun, his teammate had gone around and people was just sliding through Paddock Hill. The showers are coming in 10 minutes. It's going to decrease in half an hour as well. It's still going to decrease. And all of a sudden, all these wet tyres getting too hot, too overpressured. If this track goes to greasy, you have to think the slicks will be the tyre to go on. Michael Harris still second in gold. Just behind them is McGowan. Schmidt somehow stays P8 from Leger. And further down the field as well. Ben's up 9 places, says Chris. Marinich on the back of De Court. Further down, we've got a train behind Mezzino of Manavola, Gillies, Cardno, Rook. All in this train. At the moment, Wainwright is out the pitch. Comore down to 26th place. And what has happened here? Benny Varga down to last as well. Absolutely crazy scenes through Paddock Hill Bend. Michael Harris then still pressuring the back behind. Ian McGowan has lost out to Schmidt. Might fight this one back up the inside, you know, at Graham Hill. Schmidt leaves the door open because McGowan still had the nose on the inside. And now Leger looks to attack the outside of McGowan. Not going to do it through there, though. Backs out of that one. Mike Matthews now up into the top 10. I haven't seen Matt Wright's name. Oh, yeah, he is on there. He's 24th with a bit of damage. Maybe he got caught up in that. And Jimenez. And there's Comore then in 26th. Kept as still as you could imagine. And did not move as here goes Comore. Up the inside of Jimenez. Thank you, Mama, for the carrots. Through he goes. Harris now is going to have a quick Schmidt gaining on the back of him. As quick as he could be. Because Schmidt needs to make up a lot of time as Sokolov leads this race from Radic. With Mezin on the podium once again. And scenes here at Brands Hatch this evening. Absolutely crazy scenes at Brands Hatch. Unreal to think of what has just happened. And still Harris can't get through. Knew I'd be starting wets again, says Cherry Moore in the chat. And here comes Harris up the inside of Mezin now. Going to have a look on that inside line. Can Mezin hold it round the outside? He'll be on the inside line for Graham Hill. He slides out the corner. And no, he cannot. Harris is through. Schmidt's gaining on the pair of them. Leger still trying to stick onto the back of McGowan. De Court trying to keep with Marinich. He was a little twitchy through there. And crazy indeed, as the rain will increase in half an hour, it's saying. So the rain is going to get a little bit stronger in the next 30 minutes. What a race this has been. What a start to this race. Dramatic already, has overtaken now on the back of Decor for 12th and 13th place. I don't think the weather even knows what it's doing. Like Rob Smith just said, it now says heavier in 30 minutes. So I don't even think the weather knows what to do at the moment. Further down the order, let's have a look at Ben Rook trying to get past Gillies. He's cleared Tom Cardno. He's on the back of Gillies and Manavola. Race 1 winner, championship leader at the moment. Good luck tonight, says Ian Thompson, and they're going to need all the good luck, Ian, because it is crazy out there. Ugoni's on the back. In fact, no, let's stay with Gillies, because Gillies all over the back of the Ford Mustang, just in front of him. Can't get the move done, though. Let's drop back now to Ugoni, who's on the back of Mackenzie. Comore has got onto the back of Matt Wright. And all these drivers waiting to see if the weather's going to change. That's going to be the biggest question. Back to the Gillies, Manavola, Ben Rook fight then. Rook is not going to want to be wasting time behind these drivers. He wants to get as many places as he can early on. But he doesn't want to be impatient. He cannot afford to spin a car around and face a possible penalty. He has to go about this in the right manner. Gillies got his hazards on at the moment. Not sure why. But what a chaotic start to this race. Ben's now flashing the lights. He wants Gillies to get the hurry up on. And this is the thing with the overall points. You're fighting for every position. So even though you're a gold or a platinum driver, you are fighting for every place. We'll see when that shower starts to come in. And as the rain gets less and less until that 30-minute mark, we see it's going to increase as Gillies just on the grass a little bit there. This is looking on board Ben Rook's view. This is what he's seeing. Not a lot of spray on this damp track at the moment. You're not seeing much spray come up off the back of Gillies. So you're just being able to see the raindrops from the sky and a bit of water being kicked up. Gillies has a bit of a moment, puts the hazards back on again. And is this Ben Rook's chance to tuck underneath? Yes, it is. Gillies stays high and wide as Ben Rook's going to come underneath. And through Ben Rook goes up into P19. As Gillies and Ben both have a bit of a wiggle coming through Paddock Hill Bend. What's happening further up the road? Oh, drama's happening further up the road because Miger's dropped behind Harris, Schmidt, McGowan and Leger. So Harris is now your leader and he's on the back of Vitas. And he might have a look at Vitas here in towards Hawthorns. No, thinks better of it. Tucks back in behind. Harris looking racy here at the moment. Remember, if you are new to the channel, to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell to be notified when we are live. We'll be live from Kyle Army for the Who Darren Cup Pro-Am and Pro next week. DeCourt on the back of Mike Matthews once again here. And then he's got Richie Michelle just behind him. Further back, Van der Ven in the Audi on the rear of Marinich. So Marinich has had a problem because he was up there a moment ago. And just behind this queue is Messino. And that of on the back of Van der Ven. Not far behind is Manavola. And here comes Ben Rook once again. Going to have a look possibly out of clearways. Rob Smith says wet tyres are going to be shredded by 30 minutes. Whoever looks after them the best should change in the second half. I think it might go greasy as Ben has tucked underneath Manavola. Coming in towards Paddock Hill Bend. Ben Rook looking for the move. He pulled on Gillies the last lap. Pulls it again. And Ben Rook carving his way through the field. Moves up to 18th place now. And he's on the back of a train of cars as well. This is Messino looking on to the Audi. We're going to move further forward to Patrick Leger. 1/10 between him and McGowan. Mezin's on the back of Radic as well. And Michael Harris still on the rear of Vitas at the moment. Just biding his time in these tricky damp conditions. And I'm just going to load up one of the driver's streams. I just want to look at the tyre temperatures and pressures at the moment, because I have a feeling they're going to be going through the absolute roof. They're not too bad at the moment. I'm not going to say which driver that I'm on board with, but they are on the wet tyre, and the pressure's sitting in the 31s and yellow bar the front right. So at the minute, you know, they're not looking too bad. So we'll see what happens here. Here comes Harris to the outside. We know how much pace that Lexus has in a straight line and drives right around the outside of Vitas. Doesn't need to do it on the brakes into Paddock Hill. Harris leads gold and he's up into P4. Down the order once again, Mike Mathew still under pressure from De Court. What about Leger on McGowan? Not close enough yet. Well, let's go back down towards Ben Rook, who once again is going to pull the same move he has done 3 laps in a row. And it's not Messino he's got past. He's cleared De Court. He's cleared Van der Ven, as Messino's already got past him as well. Ben up to P16. So a great race for Ben Rook, who got disconnected on the formation lap, got back in and had to start from the pit lane. And he's already up to P16. We have had a few drivers in the pits. Mackenzie Stothard, Wainwright and Rob Smith. As Comore on the back of Overtaker now. Gillies on the rear of Manavola. And then we've got Rook chasing down Messino, who's trying to hunt down that of Hibbs. And then he's trying to hunt down Marinich as well. In front of them, Richie Michel, De Court and Mike in a 3-way battle. Then it's Leger trying to get onto the back as he slid through Sheen curve there of Ian McGowan. Then we've got Schmidt and Vitas trying to get closer to Michael Harris. We've got Mezin, who's hunting down that of Radic, and Sokolov, fastest lap of the race, nearly 3 seconds. He's 2.8 clear up the road, absolutely charging. And let's go back down to Ben Rook. In fact, there's a couple of places dropped there. That is Jimenez, who's had a spin. Yellow flag for Jimenez. He's had a moment at Hawthorne's Bend. And where is Ben Rook? Is he going to try and make the same move on Messino? Looks a little bit too far back now. And yeah, he's not going to make the same move this time around. But he's getting closer to Messino. They have gained an extra place. So Mike Matthews has had a moment. What's happened to Mike? He's in the pits. So Mike has pitted early. And what is Mike pitting for? That's going to be the big question. That cannot be slicks. It's still damp out there. That cannot be for the dry tyre. The showers are coming in, but that surely isn't for the slick tyre. Didn't seem to have any damage on his car, but that cannot possibly be for the slick tyre. It just cannot. I've just looked... Excuse me, I've just looked on my timing tower as well. He's got plenty of fuel in the tank. So unless he's just had a moment and caught something... But either way, he's in the pits. Not sure why. I think it's going to go greasy because it's going to decrease still over the next 10 minutes before it increases. And there we go, look, it's not going to increase much. It's going to stay as showers. I think this track's going to go greasy. I think Mike has pitted way too early in this race. Either way, this is the Gillies and Manavola fight. Where is Ben Rook now? Well, he's up to 15th place. Did Mike just keep... I think if he's not put the dry tyre on, if he's on, hard to say. Ben Rook can't make the same move on Messino this time round, but he might be able to get it done on Hibbs, and indeed he does get it done on Hibbs. Hibbs a little slow into turn 1, and Messino and Rook get through. Messino's a little wide at Paddock Hill. Is this going to allow Rook to have the chance up towards Druids to get the move done at turn 2? Here comes Ben Rook. Through goes Ben Rook, putting on an absolute masterclass of overtaking this afternoon at Brands Hatch. He is on a mission in this race. What's happening out front? Sokolov with a big 3.5 second lead over Radic to Mezin, who's underneath him. Harris is leading gold. He's P4 by some margin from Schmidt now, as there is Vitas. Was that Mike Matthews just off the track? It was. So did he put the slicks on? Has he made a mistake on the slick tyre potentially? Messino now down the order. Hibbs looks very, very slow as here comes Cardno to have a look and cannot get through at all. Rocky's on rails, says Cherry Moore. Indeed he is. He's on another level at the moment. And now he's got some clear air. Can he get that fastest lap in? Let's wait and see. But Ben Rook at the moment on a mission in this race to try and make up as many positions as he possibly can here today. So Mike's pitted. He's a lap down to the leaders. Yeah. He's, well, where is Jimenez? Jimenez just coming through Hawthorne's now. So he's only 2 sectors behind Jimenez. But Jimenez has still got to pit. There's Radic, just pulled away from Mezin a little bit. Harris in no man's on. Harris is actually catching, it looks like, the leaders here. 2.5 that gap. Vitasl on the back of Schmidt. 1 place per minute, that driver of the day, surely. Well, he did win race 1. So we'll see what happens here. Langley's doing the poll tonight. So Langley's getting the votes out there for driver of the day. So we'll have to see who Langley puts on there. As Cardno has cleared Hibbs now. Look at this train of cars. Van der Ven close to the back of Hibbs. And that is Manavola defending from Gillies, who can't get through at Surtees. Yagoni is there with him as well. Now Overtaker and Matt Wright into the pits. Is this Matt Wright copying whatever strategy Mike Matthews pulled? And look, the track's going to dry in half an hour. This is going to go greasy. So unless Mike has pulled a masterclass and put the dry tyres on now, I think we're going to see greasy conditions where this track will go to dry. This track will go to a slick condition circuit. Let's go on board with Mike a second. Yeah, that looks... Bearing in mind, it's only damp for the whole circuit. Width to width, all the way around. That looks pretty much close to greasy at the minute. And I think if they've pitted and not changed to the slicks, I think they could have there made a mistake. Either way, let's wait and see what happens. If you can keep the slicks hot on a damp track, they are roughly the same lap time as overheated wets. It's not the temperatures you need, Rob, it's the pressures. If you can get the pressures there, you're absolutely fine. The temperature won't be there, but the pressure is going to be the key. Harris now down to 1.8, by the way, to Radic. Ben Rook 2.6 off the back of Marinic at the moment. So he's not able to make any more progression. Sokolov with a 3.2 second lead. Still don't know what happened to Schmidt in this race. So let's see what happens here then. Oh, Mezin's just gone off a little bit there. That's going to invite Harris onto the back of him quicker. Marinic trying to gain. In fact, no, he's not gaining because he's passed Richie Michel. So Marinic through. Rook already lurking in the background. And Mezin's got to be worrying about Michael Harris here. But Overtaker's pitted. And Mike Matthews and Matt Wright. Mackenzie's got ahead of Overtaker and Matt Wright. We've lost Wainwright from this race. He's retired from this one. So that's another retirement. So only 29 cars out there tonight to keep our eyes on in terms of the track getting drier. Still damp at the moment though. What a time this could be here at Brands Hatch this evening. Oh, big slide for Mezin at Graham Hill Bend, and through goes Michael Harris onto the outright podium. Hibbs is now into the pits, and all these wet tyres just getting too hot. Richie Michel still on the rear of Marinic at the moment. We've then got Cordno trying to get onto the back of Messino. And down the field we've got Manavola side by side with Van der Ven, with Gillies and Komar and Ugoni. And then I believe that, who is that in the Ford Mustang actually just in the background? Is that Overtaker? It is. Who is a lap down to these drivers, I believe. Because Mike isn't ahead of them. So yeah, they're a lap down to these drivers due to pitting. So Overtaker, who's trying to unlap himself, as Van der Ven has gone off through all that. And now Komar trying to attack Gillies, who's still trying to attack Jimenez. What a race this is at the moment. Ben Rook now on the rear of Richie Michel. And you just fear for Richie Michel. As Come On Harris says Cairns in the chat. Gold leader up into P3. Who's that in the pits? That is Benny Varga in the pit lane then. So Mike Matthews, you feel, should get past him. There's another spinner on the circuit. I think that's the 169 of Stothard. Indeed it was. And was that Ben Rook about to make a move on Richie Michel? He was. He has. It's done. Rook moves up to P12 at the moment. Richie Michel into the pits. De Court into the pits. Range is just going to slightly increase in the next 10 minutes. But it's that dry spell that's coming after that I don't think the shower is going to be a big enough shower in that next 10 minutes to make this go any wetter. Clear road for Marinic in front. There's barely a spot of rain on that windscreen. It is barely raining. The track is getting drier at every moment that they go around. There's still 36 minutes left of this race, and already we are seeing an absolute belter here at Brands Hatch. What is happening up and down the field then? Hibbs came out the pits ahead of Mike. And Mike is 12 seconds behind him. They did jump Benny Varga, I do believe. I can't see Benny Varga. Yeah, they did. They jumped Benny Varga. Overtaker and Matt Wright didn't know. And then we've got a fight on here still. Komar and Manavola and Ugoni. So Gillies has decided to pit. Driver of the day. Sorry, is that driver of the day poll gone up from Langley there? It is. Gold driver of the day so far. Race 1 results currently running. So Hibbs P1 currently P7, Miga P2 currently P2, Harris P6 currently P1 or other. Please comment who if you do pick the other. I don't know what to say, says Gillies in the chat. And another shower in 10 minutes, says Rob Smith. But it is only a shower. It isn't even light rain out there at the moment. So I still think this track is going to go to greasy conditions. I can't see how it won't. Look at on board them. There is barely any spray coming off the back of that Ford Mustang of Manavola at the moment. Komar driving on a greasy surface where the temperatures must be getting hot on these wet tyres. That's a spinner. Who's that? That's Mackenzie in the Nissan who's had a drama. Gillies hasn't even done his pit stop. So he's gone into the pits and he's not done his stop then. So what a shame he's not added that 1 litre of fuel. That I believe is Matt Wright who's just got past him. Yes, it is. So Gillies will have to do another stop. What a shame for the pole sitter in gold earlier on. He's going to get past Matt Wright. Matt Wright looked a little squirrely there. Don't know about you, but he looked a little tentative and a little squirrely. Did Wrighty put the slicks on? Who knows? Who knows what's happening in this race? If only we had a tyre graphic to show us who was on what tyre. That would be brilliant. What I can tell you, though, is the fastest lap. So Sokolov lapping at a 1:28.8 at the moment. Now, we know Matt Wright's probably going to be a bit slower. But he's lapping, yeah, I still think he's possibly on wets. Unless it is getting close to the dry tyre, because he's only done a 30.8, so he's only 2 seconds slower. So, interesting. Sokolov's just done a 29.0. So, see what lap times others do. Oh, a big wiggle for Benny Varga there, then. Just Benny Varga also gone onto the slick tyre as Overtaker's about to pass Benny Varga for position. And through goes Overtaker round the outside. Benny's still on that inside line. Has he kept it there for Druids? No, he doesn't. Can't do so. This is now a fight ahead once again between Komar and Ugoni with the lapped cars just behind them. Harris is gained on Radic now. Look, P3 and P2 going at it. The gold driver at the moment looking on for a good win. And I think Gillies has retired from this race. So he says disconnected in the chat. So hopefully Gillies can get back in here in this race just to get some points on the board. The track has gone greasy. So if drivers have pitted for the slicks, they've pulled out a great strategy. If they're still on the wet tyres, they are going to really feel the effects of this now. Harris to the outside of Radic. The quick Lexus versus the not so quick in a straight line Porsche. And Harris can't get it done there at the moment. We'll see if Gillies can get him. Matt Wright's back in the pit, so I'm not sure what's happened to Matt Wright, but Matt Wright is also back into the pit lane. Did he get disconnected as well? And Rob Smith, so I think we've had 3 disconnections here. One of them being Matt Wright and Gillies and Rob Smith. Or is that just Rob Smith dropping to 29th because them two have come back in? We'll wait and see. Either way, this is Komar fighting with Manavola as Radic just dropping onto the grass a little bit there. Here comes Harris now. Side by side. Radic will have the inside line in towards Hawthorne's Bend. Harris tries to hold it strong around the outside. Great bit of racing, leaning on each other through Hawthorne's. They both go. Radic still on that inside line. Harris just gets a nose in front and pulls out the corner. Better than the Porsche. Harris is up into second place, and the gold driver on current form could win this one, you know. He is absolutely flying out on circuit. Mezin as well has come to the party with Radic now to play. Track is greasy. It's going to just have an increased shower over the next 10 minutes. But I can't see it being much more than just that. And then it's going to dry. So we could potentially get to a green running surface in this race. But Michael Harris has checked out by over a second and a half to Radic. So what has happened to Radic's car? Marinic now with Maiga ahead of him. Here comes Ben Ruck also on the back of Maiga. So Marinic has passed Maiga then. Here comes Ben Ruck looking underneath. Can't do so there. So Ruck now up to 11th. What a race this is turning out to be. Back to Radic, who's going to go around the outside of Surtees. This will be a great move from the BMW driver, just leaving each other enough room. And Mesin right around the outside. What a move. Schmidt's nearly onto these two as well. And Michael Harris has got 3 seconds over these two already. He's only passed them a moment ago. So has Radic burnt up his wet tyres? Here comes Vitas with Patrick Leger behind him. Ben Ruck has got past Maiga. So he's trying to now get onto the rear of Marinic. Cordno was on the back of Messino. He's not anymore. And then look at this. Manavola, Comor. Then it's Ugoni. Overtaker giving Ugoni a flash to the lights. Ugoni's into the back of Comor. And Overtaker gets both places. That is to unlap himself, though. And Matt Wright back out of the pits. Gillies back out of the pits. What a day of racing so far. That is Comor, who is off, stays stationary. I think that was Mike Matthews taking avoiding action. No, it must have been Matt Wright, as here comes Mike Matthews on the back of Hibbs now on this greasy surface. What can Mike do here? This is for position. And Mike Matthews then goes past Hibbs, round the outside at Paddock Hill Bend. Great, lovely little move there from Mike Matthews. What a race here at Brands Hatch. Mesin and Leger into the pitch. You have to feel one thing, that is for the slicks. Harris, where has this pace come from? 28.2. Sokolov down in the 30.0. Harris is only just over a second for this lead here. What pace! This is from Michael Harris at the moment. This is outstanding pace so far. Absolutely incredible pace. The rain's still set to increase over the next 10 minutes. Van der Ven in the pits. Leger jumped Mesin in the pits. So did Mesin change tyres? Did Leger not? That gap was pretty big. And this is your race leader, Sokolov. There in the background behind Richie Michel is Harris. Under a second now. Schmidt on the back of Radic. Ben Ruck trying to get towards Marinic. What a race this is turning out to be. Van der Ven in the pits. Mike Matthews is going to come flying past Van der Ven. So Mike moves up to 20th place. Still drivers ahead to pit. De Court is coming onto the GP Luke. So Mike's got a bit of time to gain over De Court for that next position on the circuit, but he should get Jimenez and Richie Michel. Vitas and McGowan now into the pits, and look at this for the race lead. Harris versus Sokolov. Gold lead versus Platinum lead for the overall lead here at Brands Hatch. Did Harris start on the dry is what the questions are being asked in the chat. Well, that is the big question. And if he did, what a bold strategy, because it would have paid off for him absolutely tenfold. This is unreal from Michael Harris in this race at the moment. Driving like he's never driven before. The gold driver on the back of the Platinum lead for the overall lead with 27 minutes to go. This has been absolutely insane. Is this his moment? We know how quick that Lexus is in a straight line. He gets closer and closer and closer. Looks to the outside line at Paddock Hill Bend. He's just got so much more confidence on the circuit. Sliding through the corner goes Sokolov. Look at the speed Harris got out of Paddock Hill Bend. In towards Druids they go. Radic into the pit. And Harris hasn't found a way through yet. What a race this is for Michael Harris. We've got Ben on the back of Marinic for 5th and 6th. Chris is saying he's up 24 places. He's still got to pit though. So he's bound to lose out to the likes of Leger, Mesin, Vitas, McGowan, because he was behind them when they pitted. So it's going to balance itself out as it goes. And he's also just passed Radic as well. Radic has pitted before him. The way he was looking for wet tarmac on the straight, I can't believe he started on dries. I don't think he was looking for wet tarmac. I think he was possibly looking to get the car alongside. We know how good that Lexus is in a straight line. The showers are going to last for at least another 10 minutes. That is Gillies off the road, who's just scoring points now after getting the disconnection. Stothard's in the pit. Rob Smith still out on circuit. What a race this is. Here goes Harris now, look, pulls to the outside line. They're coming down towards Clark Curve and Clearways. Just brakes a little earlier. He's gone and tucked it underneath now. Look at Harris go. That's Jimenez into the pits in front. And Michael Harris, side by side. He's just got such better grip. He's got better speed. He leads before the braking zone. Michael Harris leads this race. The gold driver is doing it on pace and pace alone. And I can't see a world in which Harris is using this as to find the wet spots, because he's been so much quicker than Sokolov over the last few laps. They are absolutely charging here at Brands Hatch. Down to Rook now, 9 tenths off the back of Marinic. Any other fights happening out there? Yes, DeCourt and Ian McGowan. Comore still to pit. So Mike could get Comore. Mike's back up to 18th place now. Jimenez and Richie Michel have pitted then. What a race this is. What an absolute race. Did Mike put them dry tyres on? He's lapping 29.9, so it's not bad, but I don't know if that's going to be dry pace at the moment. We'll keep our eyes on it. What about Matt Wright? Overtake is 130.8. Matt Wright, 131.2. So I'm not sure at the moment who's on what tyre, because the lap times still all pretty close together. Gareth Anderson says, unbelievable. Yes, Harris, says Chris in the chat. Harris has the target in the crosshairs now, says Cherry Moore. And indeed he does. He's pulled well away of Sokolov this lap. Look at that. Look at the gap he's got. It was 9 tenths coming through sector 2. What's it going to be at the line? Let's take a look at the lap times as well. There's 33. That is Miga stop-go penalty. Speeding in the pit lane, and Harris has lap traffic coming out the pits into his path, and that is fine. That's all part of the rules. That's absolutely okay. 28.7 for Harris to Sokolov's 30.5. I think Harris may have started on the slick tyre here. I think that may have been one of the greatest strategy calls ever for Michael Harris. Ugoni's on the back of Manavola. Schmidt now into the pits. And Mike, with that stop-go, that'll help Mike Matthews get another place. And Ugoni's just sailed past Manavola there. The teammates swapping places. Is Harris on the dry tyre, says Chris. Not a clue. Not a clue, because we have no way of finding out. He doesn't tell us on the timing tower either. So, but he was 1.3 quicker than Sokolov. I think he may have started on the damp. Well, the track's back to damp again. But the rain is decreasing, and we're going to see that dry spell come in at the end. So it will go back to greasy. Cordno into the pits. Here comes Leger, Vitas and Mezin. Great little three-way fight here for 10th place, net 10th place, because others have got to pit. Comore still to pit as well. Here comes Vitas, little wiggle on the curb. Track's still damp though. Let's go on board with Leger a second. Let's just take a look at it. It doesn't look like it's got any wetter than earlier. You can really start to see the racing line appearing on the circuit. There is still just a few spots of rain here and there. Miga in for that stop-go penalty then. So that'll be Mike Matthews and Hibbs. Hibbs had actually got ahead of Mike Matthews once again now, so not sure what's happened there. But back to this three-way fight. I think Harris had to start on the slick tyre. Had to have started on the slick tyre. Harris in, Sokolov in, Rook in, Marinic leads this race. Now the big question is, what tyre does Ben go on? Was he on the dries? Was he on the wets? What will he change to? Will he change? We've just got to wait and see with 22 minutes left of racing in this race. Millington saying the track's back to damp. Stop, go cleared for Miga. So Ben Ruck just losing out to Harris and to Radic. Radic now second place. So Radic has jumped. Sokolov hasn't done his pit stop. So he's gone into the pits and not completed the mandatory stop. So his race goes from bad to worse. Schmidt now ahead of Ruck, as is Leger, Vitas and Mezin. Where is De Court? Round in the final corner. De Court may get Ben here, you know. Just because of that overspeed. He does indeed. Will McGowan? No, he won't. Ben Ruck comes out ahead of McGowan. So Comore still to pit. Sokolov still to pit. Gillies has pitted. Rob Smith's back in the pits. Van der Ven is in the pits. Sokolov, though, has ruined the chance of a race win even more. What's happened to Harris? He's lost out 2 seconds to Radic in this race. So I'm not sure what's happened there. Who was that side by side behind Harris? That is the Nissan of Mackenzie going side by side with the 33 of Maiga, trying to defend his position there. Harris was on wet, says Keynes. So there we go. And look at that. Dry weather coming in 10 minutes. So the track, you assume, will go back to greasy because it only just changed to damp, so it can't have got too damp at the moment. Maiga on the back of Mackenzie here, though. This is for 20th and 21st, as Harris has lapped Maiga now, and now he's going to lap Mackenzie. And they've got Richie Michel now involved in this fight. Richie Michel actually followed Harris through to get past Maiga. Now he's going to attack Wainwright into Druids. Try and squeeze up the inside. Just enough of a Lamborghini-sized gap left there. And as they power out of Druids, Wainwright's going to have that inside line. Sokolov now back into the pits for his stop. So that's going to tumble him down the order even more. Vitas within 3/10 of Leger. That is either Mike or Matt Wright in the background letting them through. I believe that was Matt Wright there. Let's just double check. Yes, it was. So Leger trying to fend off Vitas, and he can't because Vitas has got up the inside and Leger has been overtaken by Vitas. Stop go now for Sokolov. His race has gone from bad to worse in this one. Chris is saying Ben's tyre pressures went up to 35 psi. I'm not surprised. The question is, has he changed the tyres now though? And has he put the wets on or the slicks on? What a race. What a race so far. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. And don't forget to hit the bell to be notified when we are next live. Mike Matthews back onto the rear of Damien Hibbs now. So a chance here for Mike to make a move on the Greasy Bandits racing driver. It was great to see Hibbs back on the track. Wasn't here last week. So it's great to see him back on the track today. Oh, what a race this is turning out to be. We thought last night was brilliant. Tonight has been, I think, just even better. These two should get Sokolov as well because he's got that stop go to do. Richie Michel has passed Mackenzie. Mike has got past Hibbs. And Mezin now all over the back of Schmidt. So is Schmidt on the slicks? Boy, it's hard to say. Radic now 6 seconds clear of Harris. Harris just hasn't had that same pace since the pit stops. Second place will still be good. And if Radic wins, that'll be 4 winners from 4 races. You have to go slicks. The race will end under dry conditions. It's not going to rain anymore. So the minute this rain stops, you've got a feeling this track is going to go greasy any time. And that is just going to be slick tyre territory. I mean, look at the rain. This is on board Radic. There's no spray from the car in front. There's barely any raindrops falling on the screen. You have to go slicks here, surely. Either way, the top 4 are still to pit. This could work out for Marinic, Messino, Ugoni and Manavola. Because if it does go greasy, they can get them slicks on. Right, Sokolov in the pits for the stop-go penalty. We have lost another driver. I believe we've lost Rob Smith from this race. Let me just double check. Yeah, we have. We've lost Rob Smith from this race. So that'll be a retirement for him in this one. What a race here at Brands Hatch. Absolutely fantastic scenes here. And you have to say, well done to all the drivers out there on the circuit. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Schmidt gaining on Mesin still, or is that Mesin just pulling away a bit more? Jamie Brazier. Good evening, Jamie Brazier. Hope you're well. Get the slicks on, says Jamie. It's gone to Greasy. So I think it is now time for slicks. Radic has passed Manavola. And I think it is now time for that slick tyre. So did Harris put the slick tyre on? What a race this is. What a race this is at the moment. This has been absolutely fantastic racing. It really has been brilliant to watch. It has been so good. Steve Millington back to Greasy. Get them slicks on. Such changing conditions. Yeah, it has been tonight. It has been absolutely crazy. You have to feel that they got to get the slicks on in this race. Right, Comore. Half a second off the back of McGowan. Comore still got to pit here. Overtaker's now past Hibbs. So Hibbs tumbling down the order a little bit. Sokolov's going to try and now fight for damage limitations. But Harris has gained a lot of time over and that's 7 seconds actually back to Manavola. Plus the extra 2.8 to Radic. So, yeah, interesting. It's 15 minutes. This track's just going to get even drier. Especially when that rain stops. Marinic in the pits. Let's see what happens in this race. So Marinic in the pits. Does Messino come into the pits? No, he doesn't. Neither does Ugoni. What about Manavola? Another Matt Wright masterclass, says Langley in the chat. I'm not sure it is a masterclass. I think he had a disconnection, but he's 26th. So I don't think it is a masterclass from Matt Wright. Not a lot happening out there, though, at the moment. Miga within 9/10 of Mackenzie now. Sliding through clearways there. Mike's 10 seconds off of Cardno. Not a lot really happening. Harris 6.5 to Manavola now. Oh, this is going to be interesting to the end. This is going to be so interesting to the end of this race. What a night of racing this has been. Miga on the back of Mackenzie has a bit of a wiggle, allows Vitas to get through. Oh, that's the point, says Langley. There we go. A bit of banter there for Matt Wright. Marinic still in the pit lane here. He's about to leave the pits, I believe. And Cardno will not get past him. So not close enough. Radic 1.1 off the back of Ugoni. Ugoni still to pit. Where is Messino? It's just come through on the grass a little bit there. Rain still falling though. Look, it's very light rain. Look at the showers. It is not a lot of raindrops on that windscreen at all. So you have to feel that these wet tyres the drivers must be on are screaming at them. Messino's still going. Ugoni comes into the pit, so that releases Radic. Manavola's had a spin, so that will release Harris. And now we get to see the fight between the time between Harris and Radic, and see whether Radic went slicks and Harris went wets, whether they both went slicks or what. Let's see the lap times at the moment. So Radic 29.1 on lap 30. We'll wait for that to update to lap 31. We'll get a clear indication. Harris is 11 seconds behind Radic, and he's got Mesin only 9/10 behind him. Leger's on the back, or trying to get close to the back of Vitas once again. Ugoni's into the pits. Manavola stayed out. Great night. Great week of racing here. The greasy, tricky conditions have played its part and have done a great job. Radic did a 29.4. Harris a 30.3. So not sure which way to look at that. I think they're both probably still on the same tyre. But what a night's worth of racing this has been. Absolutely fantastic bit of racing here at Brands Hatches. Here comes Leger. That's looking up the inside of Manavola. And then they've got Miga to put a lap on as well. Comore is into the pits. So will that release Cardno? It will. What about Mike? He's not a million miles away. Mike's just been overtaken by Overtaker. So Overtaker's got Mike done. I think Mike pitted for wets early on because he was so high there. Or Mike's got past Comar as well. Mike was so high there looking for them wet patches of circuit. Manavola 6/10 off of Leger. Mezin within half a second of Harris. Radic 7/10 off the back of Messino. Messino still yet to pit in this race as well, by the way. So he's still got to come in and do his stop. This is for P3. Oh, Mezin with a big dive on Harris there. And Mezin missed the corner by a mile, hit Harris and still went off. So a big dive from Mezin there. Radic is taking the lead of this race. What a night's worth of racing at Brands Hatch. Dakota's got Rook from the back of the grid. P30 up to P10. And he will get possibly P8 guaranteed with the 2 still to pit. So a great comeback drive from Ben. And the Colt also looks like he's on the wet tyre because he was on the wet part of the circuit there, whereas Ben stayed on the racing line. So I wonder if Ben went for the slicks option. Can't blame him. Right, Messino in the pits. Harris 13 seconds off the back of Radic. So second place in gold could be Dakota at the moment because him and Messino and Manavola still to pit. Manavola's now in. 10 minutes left to go. No more rain expected. So how quick could this track dry? This is Ben Rook on the back of Dakota himself. Second place in gold at the moment. How quick could this surface dry to get to green? But the rain has now stopped and it's not going to come back for the rest of this race. And Ben Rook easily through. DeCourt made a little mistake on the exit. And Ben Rook gets up to P number 7 now. He's got 3-point-something seconds to catch this man, Patrick Leger, who's on the back of Vitas as well. Rob Smith shows great temperament to DC at the beginning. Disconnect at the beginning and keep it together and drive through the pack. Great temperament indeed. A great drive from Ben Rook. Who's that side by side? That looks like it's Comor and Maiger together in the background. Yes, they're having a good little scrap here. Manavola dropping down the order. Did he come out ahead of Mike Matthews? No, he did not, and loses out to Hibbs for good measure. Now as the race leader behind him, he's going to have to yield to. Where did Messino come out? P10, so not a bad stop for Messino. Leger then. Well, that's Gillies. He's about to lap. Through he goes there. Gillies just going to score points now. Maiger on the back of Comor still. And that is Ben Rook about to put a lap on them. And these two are having a good little scrap. Maiger's been good with the blue flags all day. Chris saying that the track is looking really dry in places. Let's go on board with Maiger. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad, does it? There, look, there's barely any streaks of water up the hill there. Started to see the tyre marks. Ben comes diving up the inside there. I'm not sure if he made contact with Maiger or if Maiger turned out of that one. But yeah, looks a little wet down the hill. But definitely coming up the hill as Maiger slides through the corner. Definitely coming up the hill. It looked a lot drier. Mike's on the back of Overtaker here. 0.8 of a second between these two. They're 11 seconds off of Ugoni. Schmidt now within 0.4 of Mezin. Schmidt obviously your sprint winner from last week. So we'll be looking for a win here to add to his race wins tally already. We also had that of Milliston, who won the sprint race, feature race, and then we've had Ben Rook win the sprint. So 3 winners in 3 races. And unless Schmidt can pull off a blinder of a race here, as there's your battle for the podium. And don't forget, Harris is the gold leader. This could be big points for Harris in this one, like Klaas got last week, as Schmidt now looks to the inside line. Not close enough this time around to have a go on the BMW of Mathew, who's dropped it out of Paddock Hill. And Schmidt, now and then the Harris was off. Did they come together? Because Harris was also off. Did they come together? Harris is now, I think, still P3. Vitas did not get through. Mezin's now 4th, but Schmidt gets both of them. And did Mezin miss his brakes again? You see this? I've just seen back on the stream next to me. The sparks flying. Oh my. What a race this has been. Manavola trying to get past Hibbs. Does get past Hibbs. They've got the race leader Radic behind them to put a lap on them. Radic taps the back of Hibbs there. Hibbs and slow lets Radic go, and Radic taps the rear. Oh, it's all kicking off. Radic will not need this while he's got such a big lead over Schmidt to make it 4 winners in 4 races. He's got 6 minutes to hang on in there. This is crazy here at Brands Hatch today. Apparently he did hit Harris. Leger still on Vitas here. It has been drama, Arctic Fox. I'm all for it as well. It's been a great race. Here comes Marinic now, side by side with Messino. Down Hawthorns Hill, in towards the Hawthorns Bend they go. And Marinic right around the outside. Contact! Marinic can't hold it! Banging into the wall hard. Where is Cardno? Not quite there yet. But the contact was inevitable. And round goes Marinic into the wall, who flashes Benny Varga to let him back through because Benny Varga's a lap down. Varga goes onto the grass and off goes Benny Varga. But contact there, Manavola trying to now chase down overtake. Manavola's got ahead of Mike Matthews. Hibbs may get ahead of Mike Matthews. Mike is definitely on the wet tyre there. He's looking for the wet parts of the circuit. He's struggling on his tyres. And Hibbs sails past him like he's standing still. Mike's going to try and fight this one back on the inside. He does, but just hasn't got the traction out the corner. Hasn't got the grip. This has allowed Hibbs round the outside of Dingledale. Up the inside, back goes Mike at Sheen Curve. Slides through the corner. Now Hibbs to the outside line. At Sterling's, still can't get it done. Has he got the traction out the corner now? This is onboard Hibbs with Mike Matthews in front. And just look at the difference in speed. Mike is looking for every wet patch he can find. They're running out of wet patches though. And it's only a matter of when for Hibbs in this race. Gareth Anderson says absolute cinema. And indeed it has been. Mike sliding through Paddock Hill Bend. I think he kept the wet tyre on. I don't know if he changed to a new set of wets, but I think Mike kept the wet tyre on. And I don't think it's worked for him. Oh, he's gone. He's gone at Graham Hill. Rhea's gone around. Hibbs has gone through. Where's Richie Michelle? He's at Druids. Can Mike get back going? Well, he's got it facing the right way. Richie Michelle is now inbound. And Mike does get it going. I think Mike's tyres are done. Leger close to the rear now of that of Vitas. Battles everywhere here, says Arctic Fox. The gold vote looks unanimous. And I think I have to pretty much agree with that one. And Ben Rook could be on for P5. What are the chances of that? Leger has been staring at the back of Vitas for ages. We've even got a bit of clear skies coming out. It's only light cloud now. So it's even clearer skies here tonight. And is this Leger's chance? He's got a fast Ben Rook on the back of him. Oh, I think Rook's tapped him. I think Rook has tapped Leger. Round goes Patrick. Was it on his own? Did Rook touch him? Where's the court? Coming through now. Leger's got going. Whoa, did Rook tap the back of Leger there? That'll be the question to ask. Vitas lives to fight another day. Harris takes the fans' vote for driver of the day in gold with a unanimous decision. With 2 minutes left to go in this race. Schmidt has brought the gap down to Radic. Nearly 7 seconds. Any other fights on circuit? Richie Michelle Now going around the outside of Druids on Mike Matthews. He's going to try and keep it there for the inside line at Graham Hill. Mike's going to try and fight this, but you just feel that Mike's fighting a losing battle here. Comore's 10 seconds down the road, so that could be Mike's saving grace, really. Richie Michelle with a wiggle, and he pulls over to let that of Mezin, I believe that is, to come through to put a lap on him. He's going to try and use this sensibly and follow Mezin through to pass Mike. Chris said he did, but there was a brake check by the looks of it. Interesting. Wonder if that one will go to the stewards as Richie Michelle to the outside of Mike Matthews. And no can do there. Oh, Mike loses the rear again, and Richie Michelle, easy as you like. Through he goes. Leader starts the final lap, and Mike's tyres are dying, and dying fast. Hibbs has now got Overtaker. So Overtaker's struggling out there as well. What an absolute bit of cinema this has been. Ben Rook, has he got past Vitas? Yes, he has. So Rook is up into 5th place. And that is where Ben is going to end up here, because I don't think he's going to get any more out of this one. What a race this has been. Absolute cinema. Where's Comore? 6 seconds to Mike. Mike is only 7/10 off the back. Scott Sokolov hasn't pulled any more pace through this pack here since his double pit stop and a stop-go penalty. Where's the race leader? He's just coming through Westfields now. We'll go on to him because Radic, he's being caught at a quick rate here by Schmidt, but Schmidt's just going to run out of time. And it is going to be 4 winners in 4 races. And it is going to be Radic who will take the race win at Brands Hatch. He's got 1 corner left to go. And what a race this has been from this man. Radic, I believe it's his first race at SimPlay Motorsport. It's his first race win of the season. Radic is going to come home to take the race win in great style. Schmidt will be in P2. A good comeback drive to say he had a drama after leading. Michael Harris, give yourself a bow for P3. That is a great result. And the gold win for Michael Harris. Mezin will be P4. From then that of Ben Rook in 5th place. Vitas will be in 6th. Ahead of Patrick Leger, P7. And Leger will feel a little bit miffed, I feel, after that race. DeCourt, 2nd place in gold for a good drive for him. Then it's going to be Ian McGowan to come through for P9. Great result for him. Just inputted these points wrong. Marinic P10, Messino P11, Cardno 12th, Ugoni 13th, Manavola is just coming around for 14th place now. We've already had Hibbs and a few others cross the line as well. We've just got Stothard out there to cross the line. He's already crossed it, and that then is your race results. Apologies for just going a little quiet there. Like I say, I've got a lot to get inputted before we get to the driver interviews in just a moment's time. Just take a screenshot of the race results so that I can get them inputted properly. But what a race. What a Brands Hatch this has been. It's been absolutely fantastic. Thank you all for tuning in to watch this race. I'm just going to try and input quickly the rest of the race results in this one. Mackenzie finished in 25th place. They wasn't here. Ken's not here. Mike Matthews must have stayed on the wets. Didn't work out for him. 18th place for him. Comore in this race. He was 19th place. Sokolov was 21st with the fastest lap though for Sokolov in this one. Friedman didn't start this race. Overtaker was P16. And I believe that is all the platinum results in this one. Who took the pole position again? I can't remember who took pole now. I'll have to have a look back through. It was the Honda of Schmidt who took pole position. We'll put that one there, and let's input the gold results. So Class wasn't here. Harris, 3rd place overall. Fair play to him. Van der Ven, he was down in 24th. What a shame. Meiger was down in 20th. Not the result he'd have wanted. Butcher wasn't here tonight. Cardno, 12th. Good race for Cardno. That he'll be happy with that one. No Gleason. Ugoni, he was up the order a little bit more. Where was he? He was 30th. Good result for him. Messino finished in P11 and was actually 3rd place in the bronze category as well, so fair play to him. DeCourt was 8th for 2nd place in gold, so fair play to him as well. Richie Michel was down in 17th. Matt Wright, dismal race for Matt Wright. We believe a disconnection for Matt. 26th place for him. Hibbs was P15. Gillies down in 28th after a disconnection. Benny Varga, not the race 2 he'd have hoped for. Manavola, he was 14th place, decent for him. And that, no, Stothard as well, sorry. He was 27th. And that is all we have, I do believe. Stothard, Langley, Jimenez. No, Jimenez. Where was Jimenez in this race? He was 22nd. No Castro, no Ramswell, no Westerich here. We are joined by Michael Harris and Ben Rook in the commentary box. We will start with Michael first of all, though. That was some pace out there in race 2.
Wasn't it just? Very surprising, to be honest. Our first stint was unbelievable. I think I just got tyre pressures and everything like that correct. And there was times I was racing with the guys on the podium. It didn't feel real, to be honest. Being that far up.
Being that far up, and you was just catching the Platinum leaders hand over fist, just gaining on them every inch of the circuit. What was it like out there, though? Because started damp with a bit of light rain, went to showers, surface and went to greasy, came back to damp, then the rain stopped and it went back to greasy. Difficult conditions out there.
Yeah, it was. It was all just about managing, like the first stint before pit stop. It was just about managing like the tyre temperatures, making sure they didn't get too hot, which I did pretty well at. And then it was like crunch time at the pit stop. Do we take dries? Do we stay on wets? We ended up going on dries, but yeah, it took a while for them to kind of warm up a bit. So towards the end, they were great. But yeah, that first little bit after the pit stop was a bit challenging.
Indeed. We go to Kyle Army for the first 90-minute race of the season next week. What can you do around there? Lexus should be good.
Hopefully. The last time I drove it around there, it felt pretty decent. So hopefully we can carry on what we did last time and get a decent result. But I'm quite looking forward to this hour and a half. See how that goes. I do prefer a longer race, so yeah.
Indeed. Well, congratulations on the outright podium tonight, and well done on the gold win. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks, mate.
And we'll just go over to and tell me if I've pronounced this wrong. Is it Sokolov?
Yeah, it's
there we go.
Correct.
Second place in the sprint race tonight. In what was probably the easiest race of the night, with it being dry all the way through.
Yeah, it was actually totally fine. Yeah, I made a pit at a good time, and I mean, if I did pit like in like 2 laps before, I probably would be in P1. But yeah, those guys behind, yeah, they went a bit early in the pit, so yeah, that was the difference, because Nissan in front of me was just a bit slower, like half a second of a lap, and yeah, it was enough.
Race.
The second race was
yeah, race. I was just about to say race 2 didn't go the same way. Did your pit stop, but forgot the fuel? Then did your pit stop, got the stop go, and it just kind of ruined what was a good race for you?
It was a great race, especially in the first stint, but yeah, the conditions were like very weird because it was like wet, but also the tires were like completely red and overheating. So yeah, it was strategy-wise, it was kind of tough, but I had a good pace, and yeah, it just went wrong like in the pits, I guess. I thought that I put the fuel in, probably wasn't, so then I had to go in on the other lap, and yeah, everything went basically downhill because I put the dry tires.
Yeah,
I thought it was the best idea, and probably it was. So yeah, P22 is not what I deserved, I guess, today, but you know, it happens.
It does indeed. Kyle Army next week, 90-minute race. What do we think about that one?
I like the track, so I'm excited about it. So should be good.
Well, we wish you the best of luck. Congratulations on the P2 in race 1, and we'll see you next week. And we'll go to Ben Rooks, winner of the sprint race. We'll get to Radic in just a moment. Ben, first of all, that was some great pace throughout the entire night. But yeah, talk us through that race win. It was a good run.
Yeah, so race 1, I felt like I had the pace, and apparently, obviously, I did. I undercutted or behind Radic because I feel like he was holding me up a little bit, and that worked beautifully. I got the undercut done and went on to win by a big gap.
Yeah, it was a great second race as well. Your dad put in the YouTube chat that you got disconnected.
Yes.
On the formation laps. So you've had to start from the pit lane 30th to get through to P5 in the end was
Yeah.
absolutely incredible.
The adrenaline is high. I had no idea how I've done that. Absolutely none.
Kyle Army next week. Thoughts on that one? 90 minutes.
I'm screwed. The Lambo sucks, to say the least.
Well,
Especially around 90 minutes as well. I mean, I'm gonna have to put in the practice like I've been doing so far all season, but I don't think it's gonna go well. Not at all.
if there's one man who could pull it off, it used to be Dan Davis, but it's probably now you. So I'm sure you'll get it feeling somewhat okay for next week.
Yeah.
Well, best of luck with it.
Hopefully.
And congratulations on the
congrats to the podium as well.
Indeed.
Especially Aris, that was beautiful.
Yeah. Oh yeah, teammate. Yeah. So yeah, good result for the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Well, good luck next week, and we'll see you at Kyle Army.
Yep.
And we'll get to Radic now. Well, what a topsy-turvy race that was. You was not really in the lead of that because Schmidt was pulling away with it at the start. Then something happened to him. We didn't see what, and you was just fighting through the field as well, wasn't you? Because Harris come past you. You had to chase down Sokolov. He made the mistakes, and you managed to get through.
Yeah, exactly. Schmidt, he spun like in the first corner, like at the beginning, and then it was just me and Sokolov. But then Mizin came. He was really like I had no pace tonight. I was just really lucky throughout both of the races. So and you know, this is Brent said, so it's not that hard to defend.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that kind of worked out at the end.
You could tell tonight that the Porsche seemed like it was struggling a little bit. You didn't seem to have the outright pace.
It's terrible around here, especially like the first corner. It's really unstable, and I almost it was like 50-50 every lap if I'm gonna spin or not. And in the last sector, the car is so slow compared to other cars, like especially to those quick uphill right corners. Like the car just has no speed there.
Well, you've done well to win the race. Kyle Army though next week. What can you do around there?
I don't know, like Porsche, it's a power track, and I don't know how good Porsche will be there. Like it will probably also be really hot since it's in Africa, so and there is summer now, so my rear tires will probably die.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'll do my best, but I don't have high hopes for that race.
I checked the weather earlier, and it is really warm over there at the minute. So yeah, it's going to be a warm one. Well, either way, congratulations on the race win tonight. Well done.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And that then is everybody in the interview room. We head to Kyle Army next week for the Who Darren Cup on Tuesday night, rounds 5 and 6 of the GT4 Championship there. Prom will be back on Wednesday night for their 90-minute race, and Pro back on Thursday for the 90-minute race for them guys as well. Back to normal time, so midday races for the drivers in terms of track times. So temperatures are going to be even hotter at Kyle Army next week. What will happen out there, though? Thank you all for tuning in for tonight. Don't forget to check out our amazing sponsors in the chat, that of Big Apple Logistics as well as Design Manchester. Links are in the description below to go and check them guys out. And a big thank you to everybody in the chat. If you haven't already, hit that bell to be notified, the subscribe button if you are new, and hit the thumbs up button if you like what you see here as well. We'll be back though next week. Brands Hatch has provided such an entertaining week of racing, but